Hello, Steve White, Steve White's 89. Destination Star Trek was this weekend, and there's a little bit of news, so I just thought I'd have a look at it, because I haven't been paying attention to much of the Star Trek news lately, because there hasn't been much. First off, I'll start with the bad news, or the worst news. The new Nickelodeon series, the animated series, not the Rick and Morty one, well, that's probably the same, is going to be serialized. Why is this bad news? Because Star Trek doesn't work serialized. Star Trek was created, the format was episodic. It was Alien of the Week, Planet of the Week, Creature of the Week, Story of the Week. Basically, if you didn't like this week, next week would be different. Now, we just get the same story, dragged out episode after episode after episode, and nothing new to look forward to. It doesn't work. It didn't work with Discovery, and they just refused to accept it, because this is our format. We're digging our heels in. We're just going to go with one character, not an ensemble, and a serialized story all about one Klingon war or whatever, and just going to stick to that. And it didn't work. And I was really optimistic, and because they said so. They said, we are going to create a bunch of different Star Treks, and we're going to cater for everyone. So everyone's going to have a Star Trek they can like. So if you want dark, depressing, unlikable characters, nihilistic, war, violence, cannibalism, rape, all that sort of stuff. If you like that, watch Discovery. If you actually like optimistic, futuristic stories of exploration, you can watch the other Star Treks. That's what I thought was going to happen. And I keep getting sucked in by these people, and they're just shysters. They just promise everything and then just do what they're going to do anyway, and just hope they fooled you into paying for it, even though it's not what you want. So yeah, I cannot be optimistic about it. I was trying to, because I really loved the animated Star Trek series, the original, and compared to the original, they just managed to do so much more. I thought an animated Star Trek show would be really good. They could really explore strange new worlds and new aliens and have a lot of fun. And with new and different characters, you don't have to worry about them ruining established characters, not following things. I was really optimistic, but now I'm seeing that these people are just one note. They've just got one show, and they're just going to recreate it over and over again, and you're just going to see the same thing over and over again. And I just don't know how to feel about it, because I'm trying to be optimistic, but it's so hard. It's like they don't understand what Star Trek is and how to create it, so it's just like, well, this is how shows are now. They're all serialized, so Star Trek has to be serialized too. No, it doesn't work for Star Trek. Star Trek worked as episodic. It worked in syndication, and I'm not sure how it's going to go with having a kids show that is episodic. I mean, serialized, because the history of animated shows and how they show them, how they broadcast them, the idea that anyone's going to pay attention to the episode order and actually make sure that it's cohesive and that people can follow it is so unlikely, because they love animated shows, kids shows, to be episodic, because so they can just slot them in anywhere and just put them in on a Saturday morning or after school when the kids come home, and not have to worry. That was one of the reasons why Star Trek, the original, did so well in syndication, because it didn't matter about the episode order. It was just different. Different day was a different adventure, a different story. So I just don't think it's good. Okay. Another issue. Patrick Stewart says they're going to see a lot more of the Borg in Picard. Now, I don't think this is good either, because Star Trek's supposed to be about new things, new creatures, new aliens, new stories, and all they're doing is going back. They're doing a serialized story on Earth about the Borg and the Romulan evacuation. Things that have already been covered, and the Borg's already been done, and the Borg started off as great villains, that they had to be humanized, because that's what Star Trek does. It kind of ruined them, but it had to be done. That's what Star Trek is. There are no villains. There are no bad people. It's all explored, explained, discovered. That's how Star Trek works. So I didn't mind that they did that. But the idea that they're just going to go back and retell the Borg story, and they're going to get it wrong. They're going to get the mythology wrong. They're going to create a stupid new backstory or mythology that's not going to make any sense and not going to link up with any of the other stories. And I just think they should have just done their own show with their own characters and their own stories, even within the framework of Picard, just new characters, new aliens, new situation. So they don't have to adhere to anything. They don't have to respect anything. They can do their own thing, much like sending Discovery into the future. That is a much better idea than trying to base it, in a time frame that's already established that they don't know well enough to actually maintain it. And they're not willing to do the research or hire someone who actually knows and has the knowledge to maintain it. So that's a worry. The good news is Patrick Stewart has implied that the rest of the Next Generation cast will join him. Whether that's in this season or next season was unclear, but that's good. The only good thing about the new Star Trek is Picard is that at least they're using the actors to play their characters, the original actors to play their characters, and they're not recasting anyone, they're not rebooting it. They may be totally changing the story and ruining it, but at least we get the actors, we get to see them come back, and it's nice to see them. So the idea that the other characters, Geordie, Gates, McFadden's, Dr. Crusher, or all the Michael Dorn, will show up in some fashion is nice. So that's something to look forward to. Ketwalski made a brief mention of there was two Romulan caregivers taking care of Picard at his vineyard. That's just a little tidbit I hadn't realised. Now the other thing that came up, the Admiral uniform. Now we get to see that on the cover of the comics because they're doing a Countdown 3-part comic for Picard. They're also doing a novel, The Last Best Hope, as well, which are all going to tie in. Now, from the sound of it, these are all basically setting up the series, and they're all about the Romulan relocation and everything. So the first issue, the breakdown is, you've seen the trailer, now witness the events leading to CBS All Access Picard. Before he retired to his vineyard, Jean-Luc Picard was the most decorated admiral in Starfleet. Then one mission changed his life forever. Countdown starts here. Now they're all 3 issues, 24 pages, just the standard thing. And they're from IDW, and they're written by Mike Johnson and Kirsten Beyer, who is one of the executive producers of Picard. So it's all going to tie in, just like the Countdown comics tied into the Star Trek movies. Although you didn't really need to read them to watch the movies. So I'm not sure you probably don't really need to know the backstory. I don't know. They'll probably be worth a look. I'm kind of looking forward to these because the comics have been fairly consistent from IDW compared to Discovery and the movies. So look forward to that. The second one says, as the situation on the Romulan colony continues to unravel, Picard finds himself faced with a difficult choice that will affect millions. The official countdown to Star Trek Picard series on CBS All Access continues here. So it sounds like it's not just the evacuation. There's a colony they're dealing with, and something big happens that changes his whole career and everything. And the last one has the little write-up. Jean-Luc Picard has travelled to the farthest reaches of the galaxy, defeated impossible foes, and survived in the face of unthinkable odds. But it's the end of this one mission that will change his life forever. The official countdown to CBS All Access Star Trek Picard ends here, and things will never be the same. So it looks like that's what we thought it was going to be. There's absolutely nothing on the book. I couldn't get a date, no artwork, no nothing. Just that it was written by Una McCormick. God, what's her name? Sorry, I've got to open it up. Ugh, it's closed on me. Simon & Schuster is closed, and I can't actually read it. But it was Una McCormack, I think. I can't quite see it. It's obscured by advertising. But that's all we have, the author of the book, and that's it. So that's basically the news so far. The Admiral uniform, it is on the cover of the comic. I didn't like it at first, and I thought it's just a victim of the 25% rule with the licensing issues, even though they were told just ignore that because CBS Paramount are coming back together, so we don't have to worry about that. So we can merchandise it later. Just get it in there, make the fans happy first. Don't worry about merchandising. So I was kind of optimistic, and I saw that and thought, but then because it didn't look like the movie uniforms, they were like these Admiral uniforms or these white uniforms, and they look really nice. So it doesn't sort of continue on from that. but it does actually resemble the uniforms and from the Next Generation. So that was pointed out in a few videos that it actually looks like some of the older uniforms, Admiral uniforms. So I'm okay with it. It actually looks okay. I mean, it's not great, but it's not as far removed as I thought. So, and I'm guessing we'll see him in it in the series, but we see him in it in an image painting on the cover of the Countdown comics. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm not feeling as optimistic as I was about the animated series, and also the use of the Borg, going back to the Borg. They probably should have just left them as they were in Voyager. I'm trying to be optimistic, I really am, but I'm really struggling. But I'm going to leave it there because I've already gone 10 minutes, but I didn't think I'd get 10 minutes on this video. There didn't seem to be a lot of news. But if you have an opinion, I like comments. Comments are good. Feel free to like or subscribe and let me know what you think. Thanks, bye.